Welcome to the new podcast, episode number 51. My name is Steven. I am joined as always by producer and co-host extraordinaire Kelly, my man. Let's get to it. What a great weekend of combat sports we had. KSW going down with their 50th show in London. UFC coming down in our hometown of beautiful British Columbia, Vancouver. Great card. Boxing as well going down with Tyson Fury having a bit of a scare but defending his belt. And it's going to be right around the corner, man. Next week will be the fall to end them all is right upon us, Kelly. With everything coming down, it's going to be one hell of a season, especially, I'm talking about video games. I think this is definitely going to be the last year of the console that we all know with the PlayStation 4, the Xbox Ones. Is it even the fall of the computer? Really, the console, is it going to fall with all these streaming services coming around? I think, the streaming services are going to get into full swing here come this fall as well. So I'm quite excited. Sports, football, hockey, everything. What a fall we have coming down. I digress. I had a good weekend with the kids. Went to the mall, went to the arcade. I'll touch a little bit base on that a little later on. Had a great weekend with the fam, just chillaxing and hanging around. How about you, Kelly? You have a good weekend? Just relax, work?
Mostly work.
Shitty.
Yeah, tons of work, man.
Working for that man.
It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's got to get paid.
Yeah.
But I digress. Let's get to it. Some MMA news. Karate Combat Evolution officially being announced with all the fights that are going to be taking place on it. Coming down next weekend as well. September 21st. Oh, yeah, no, it is next weekend. Holy moly, time is flying. We will report on that next week on how the card goes down, but I just wanted to break it down. Really cool. It's going to be in a secret Budokan KC1. So it is a secret location. How crazy is that, Kelly?
Crazy.
That's crazy, man. It's going to be in a submarine
What?
at the bottom of the sea.
That's insane.
They're using the old Waterium facility at the bottom of the ocean.
They're renting it out.
Exactly.
They didn't find a buyer yet.
Exactly. They're just leasing it to whoever's going to come in.
They're doing events. They're going to have a hockey team.
Yeah, and film movies down there. Karate Combat's the only people that could pony up the dough to do it, but I thought that was kind of cool. So
all the new listeners are very confused. Sorry, we got a few inside jokes here.
Waterium used to be our very lucrative sponsor, and unfortunately went under. But it will be Saturday, September 21st. Boz Rutan and Kenny Rice will both be on the commentating team. I like Kenny Rice and Boz Rutan, obviously. Great guys to have on your commentating team. A lot of fights on it, too. So we got 10 fights, which I think is great for a card like this. It's kind of cool. It's Evolution. It's kind of like an old school video game style. Everyone's kind of got like their own logo. I wonder if they had any say on coming up with that. Check that out, Kelly. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own logo, what they want. I bet you they had something to do with it. The only real names that they didn't really have much in the way of, like we always talk about the UFC people you want to have come over, the MMA people you want to have come over, with the exception of Joshua Cohagen, who was not a very good MMA fighter. That's why he's in this organization. Obviously, the fight, I think, mark your calendars for this one, is going to be the best one on the card, and it will be my man, Abdallah Ibrahim, taking on Davy Donna. I think that's going to be the main. Just like it's not even the co-main event, which I think it should be the co-main event, because Ibrahim is just easily lights out their strongest fighter on the roster. 185, really, really great striker. We haven't really seen much tape on the dude because he just knocks everyone out. A great fighter. He's from he's fighting out of America, but he's from Egypt. Really cool story behind him. But the co-main event will be Joshua Cohagen taking on Dioncio Gustavo, which should be actually really a good fight too. I've seen a lot of Gustavo fight a bunch of times. This will be the third time I've seen him fight. He really brings a lot to the table. He's not a dude to be slept on. He's very strong. He's very similar build to Yoel Romero. Very similar build, short, stocky, really, really tough dudes. But it's the same thing. They both really don't have the best gas tank. Main event will be, though, Luis Roca taking on Edgar Scrivers. I think Scrivers from Latvia or Lithuania or something like that. The Bear Slayer is his name. It should be a great fight at 155, and it also will be for a money belt. We've seen these golden belts talked about before in the past, and we will finally see one. Here, the rumors, Danny Trejo will also be the special guest ring announcer as well. It's going to have like an 80s Street Fighter themes to it as well, which I really like it as well. I'm kind of interested to see where the hell this is going to be. I think that'd be the coolest. Like I've said time and time again, man, whatever would be cool to get a ticket to go to there. That'd be the best. But I'm really excited to see how this one turns out, and it'll be going down next weekend, 7 p.m. I think you can, it will be on karate.com. I'm not sure if you even have to pay for it. I don't know if you have to, because I know their website is, as far as I know, their website is free, so we'll find out if it is or not. Either way, we'll be able to watch the highlights down the road, and I'm actually really excited for that. Can't wait. Karate Combat Evolution. We don't have to kick it together and watch, Kelly. They put on good cards. It's always very interesting. Sometimes it's boring, obviously, but you get that with any combat sports. You get the boring fights, but most of the time you see with the way the cage is angled, you know what I mean, the pit, they call it, is angled, you actually see a lot of action and, people getting kind of ground and pounded because if you're lying up against the wall of the pit, you're not on the ground and the dude can just wail the shit out of you. So it is kind of ruthless, and that's what I like about it. But I don't know where it could be, you know what I mean? It must be in the States somewhere. It's got to be in the States somewhere, like Utah or someplace where there's a lot little red tape and a lot of land. So it's got to be, I'm thinking somewhere around there, Montana, something like that. Let's break it down. Next big announcement here. Risen 19 lightweight tournament has been announced. I can't wait. It's an 8-man lightweight Grand Prix. So I think it's all going to be fight all in one night, Kelly, which is going to be great because if you look at the card, it's not really showing anything about it. So I can't wait for this one to go down. I'm super excited for this one. You know what I mean? There's not a ton of names in it, but at least they do have a Bellator guy and Patricky Pitbull, Patricio's brother. He'll be in it. Tatsuya Kawajiri, one of my favorite fighters of all time. Bone Crusher, one of the best nicknames of all time, Bone Crusher. Damian Brown, who was actually a UFC castaway. The guy had, I think he was like 4-1 in the UFC, and they let him walk. You know what I mean? So he's getting there was a really good article written about him coming over to Ryzen and he's saying, this is the best thing ever happened to me. He's from Australia. You know what I mean? Fighting in Japan is obviously an easy flight for him. You know what I mean? It's still not, I don't even know if it's a time zone change, really, to tell you the truth. If it is, it can't be by many. So he's just saying, the people here at Ryzen have done everything for me. They've paid me more than I got paid in the UFC. I couldn't be happier. So that's a huge one. Johnny Case, who is also a Japanese mainstay right now, an American guy, American born, but obviously he's found his rhythm in Japan, will be on it as well. Hiroto Yusaka will be on the card in the tournament. And Roberto Del Souza, and a few no-names, and Luis Gustavo and Tofik Masalva. I think he's, I'm not sure what, it looks like Algeria or some kind of flag there. I don't even know what flag that is. But I'm actually really excited for that card to go down October 12th in the Ideon Arena in Japan, Osaka. So, man, Risen getting it done. The card's actually pretty good, too, with Fabio Maldonado still finding work, man. And here he's headlining, Kelly, at a catchweight, 100 kg catchweight against one of their main heavyweights, Yuri Prakaya. How is Maldonado getting these main tickets? You know what I mean? I think it's that Federer fight really helped him out. You know, I think he lost something like 4 fights in a row in UFC, kind of bounces around in Russia for a little while, gets the Federer fight. A lot of people thought he won that Federer fight, so much so that even the European MMA Union had reversed the decision to a no contest. I mean, he's got to be getting some decent chunk of change to fight a huge dude in Yuri. You know, Maldonado he's a tough dude. He's just not that big. I think that's his biggest problem. You know, I know he fought at 205 a lot, but he's a small 205. And then here we see him taking on a huge heavyweight. And Yuri, I think, is like 6'8" or some shit. So it's going to be a tough matchup for him. But like I'm saying, I'm just kind of perplexed how he is getting these main events after that Federer fight. That Federer loss was the best thing that ever happened to his career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. But they're
It's all about losing to the right person.
At the right time. You're so right, Kelly. You're so right, man. They got a super atom weight. I don't even know what weight that could be. Canadian woman, Shauna Ram, will be taking on Rena Kubota. who is Ryzen's. She's their main star, and that'll be at a catchweight of 51 kgs. And then a welterweight bout between Kitty Nakamura versus Marco De Souza. So a few De Souzas on here. I'm actually pretty excited for Ryzen 19. I haven't talked about a lot of Ryzen cards. I have been excited. They're on at a weird time, obviously, with the Japanese time zone. But this one, I think I may actually tune in. I think I would actually be really, really interested in catching this one, and we will find out how it all goes down. I hope it's a one-night tournament. That'd be the shit, Kelly. The good old Pride one-night tournaments. Cannot wait for. Going down October 12th. Like I was saying, man, we got so much shit on the bracket coming through here. I don't know what I'm going to do with my weekends. Big fight announcement that was announced this week. Jacare De Souza will be taking on Jan Blachowicz in Sao Paulo. Going down Fight Night. UFC Fight Night 164, November 16th. It'll be Jacare's 205 debut, Kelly. I guess maybe the weight cut's getting hard for him now. You know what I mean? But what a tough challenge. They're getting him. Jan Blachowicz. Blachowicz gets to welcome everyone to 205. He got, you know what I mean?
Welcome way again.
He's the welcome way. Here's a super tough Polish guy to fight. Here you go. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Blachowicz welcoming all these dudes. It's kind of crazy. I'm actually kind of excited for that fight. I thought it was a weird matchup. And I'd almost have to say that the betting favorite must be Jacare. You know what I mean? Odd matchup. Blachowicz is more of a MMA scrappy type of dude. He likes to clinch. He likes to hold you up against the fence, and he likes to punch you in the face. Where obviously Jacare is one of the best grapplers in the UFC and in the world. So I thought it was an odd matchup, but I enjoyed it at the same time. But what a weird one, Kelly. It's going to headline that one as well. I think, UFC making another venture back down to Brazil is always a great move, and to go to Sao Paulo is going to be a great matchup.
You must have seen Luke move up and oh, that looks fun.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get my career ended too. But I'd like to see how they size up too. I'd like to see how they size up when they square up. Maybe the extra 15 pounds will help out Jacare, and maybe this is gonna be a new lease on life for him. I didn't think he's all that big though. For a dude who's fought at 185 his whole career basically. I thought it was kind of an odd move, but we'll see. We'll find out. We've seen other dudes, fight at lower weight class and they move up to other weight classes and somehow they're taller. So I don't. We'll figure that one out. So we'll find out what happens.
It's like when Conor fought Eddie Alvarez, taller than him.
Yeah,
he's moving up.
Yeah, exactly. He was way taller than him, and much, much bigger. Yeah, that's a great call, man. Great call. But did he ever look emaciated in 145? I don't think he ever fights at 145 again. Yeah, that's far too low for him now. Another big announcement with just Junior Dos Santos. Next opponent has been announced, and it'll be Alexander Volkov at Fight Night 163, Moscow, November 9th. That one will go down. I really like that matchup. Two dudes coming off losses. They both need wins real bad. So I think we're going to see two very hungry dudes in Moscow, too. I really actually like that matchup. With Volkov's lankiness and ranginess, I don't know if he's going to be able to stand and bang with Junior Dos Santos. And I think he'll have to work his leg kicks and the just the straight up front kicks. I know he really likes to use that push kick a lot as well. How much that affect and kind of nullify Junior Dos Santos's boxing? Only time will tell. But on that one, Kelly, I got to ask you, who do you think takes it? One or the other, two dudes who need a win badly.
Oh, I think Junior's probably going to get knocked out again.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks. Wowzer. Yeah, I think that's this. When I saw this matchup on paper, I thought, okay, cool. You know what I mean? That's a cool matchup. Two heavyweights. I love to see heavyweights anyways. But when I was thinking about it more and more, I thought, shit, I think Junior's got he's got his hands full with this one. He definitely does. But anything can happen. That's for damn sure. And Junior Dos Santos is one of those dudes who can find a way to close the distance, and if you can keep him up against the fence, we'll find out. But what Junior Dos Santos do we see here? Then we'll find out. Going down November 9th, Moscow. Another big UFC 244, Kelly. Fuck, is it ever getting ridiculous? This is going to be the card of all time. Huge fight announcement. Canadian talent Hakeem Dawodu will be taking on Julio Arce. I'm not sure where that card is going to lay down. It has to be in the undercard just because this card is getting so stacked. It would be a huge move for Hakeem if he actually did, maybe get the first fight of the main card. I think that'd be huge because of how exciting of a fighter he is. And Julio Arce, this is a very, very tough game, dude, who's very well-rounded, all facets of MMA, and a great stand-up striker too. So I think we're going to see two dudes who are very tough go at it here. When I read this one, I was super excited to see this one go down. And just to add to it, and that's not all, folks. There's more. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson will be taking on Vincent Luquette as well. And I fucking like Luquette coming off his dismantling, rearranging of Mike Perry's face to take on, the former title contender in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, two-time title contender, really like the main top 5 gatekeeper, really, at 170. And man, oh man, that is going to be a huge move for Vincent Luquette. I think it's going to be really a huge test. He got what he asked for. He wanted a top 10 guy, and he sure the hell got it. A guy coming off that many wins, he's got to start getting these main guys. And I just love this one as well. Another huge one. Like, this one has to be on the main card, right? You'd think, because, these guys, whoever wins this one's got to be in the next, in this log jam we see at 170. He's got to be the next guy to kind of fight through that log jam at 170. To get some title contendership. How many interim belts could they have? The two-time interim, the interim, the second interim, the Cousins interim. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but that one definitely has title shot implications, even with 170 being as crazy as it is. I really like that one. Who do you think that takes that one, Kelly? Wonderboy versus Luquette. Who takes that one, man?
I'm gonna go with Wonderboy.
Whoa, yeah. His stand-up is obviously the best. At 170 probably. No one does it more crisp and clean, and I think maybe that may just be a bit too much for Vincent to get past. Maybe is he going to be a bit starstruck from fighting Wonderboy and fighting at Madison Square Garden? Does that take effect? Where Wonderboy's already been at he's been in the main event many times before. But we will find out. I'm gonna go Vincent though. I'm gonna go Vincent Luquette just to play the opposite on that one, and just to see what happens. I think he's got a great chance. Wonderboy's getting older. I know he's in his 40s, but you cannot count him out especially on his how tricky he is. With his striking, really. How sneaky he is with his striking, and I'm super excited for it. Speaking of UFC 244, with all the shit that's been going down between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal, the friendship is over. The honeymoon has come to an end. They don't like each other anymore. They went from being best friends. No, I'll never fight him because we're best friends, and if he has the belt, that is all changed. Tons of new news coming down here. I think it all started, Kelly, with Colby Covington saying, I'm Batman and he's Robin. And I think Masvidal really took huge offense to that. Saying, like how it was Masvidal was already situated as being a star before Colby Covington was. And he had taken him underneath his wing. And he was, kind of has said, I let him sleep on my couch. I let him eat my food. I had sponsors. I was established. I had that little bit of a paycheck coming in. He had nothing. And I was his best friend. I was his only friend at that time, and how mad Masvidal is, to come out and how he's talking all this shit about me, keep me out of your mouth. I'm your best friend. I don't need to be drug into all this bullshit, all this stuff for likes and for retweets and shit like that. I don't need to be involved in that. I'm your best friend. No more. And apparently it all really stemmed from a coach not being paid. I guess Colby Covington paid for Masvidal's coach to do a training camp and never paid him. The check didn't clear. He never paid him for his services, and they almost got into it in the gym. Masvidal and Covington almost got into a scrap over this coach not being paid in the gym, and the story was brought up by Dustin Poirier, because Poirier has the same coach. Poirier and Masvidal have the same coach, and they're both saying the story got brought up by Poirier saying Colby Covington's a piece of shit. He stiffed our coach for his services. And then Masvidal said, yeah, that was the final straw between me and Colby Covington, was that he fucked this guy over, who's a super nice guy. So this is over. So now we really have something at 170 that can come down to two dudes fighting. But to touch base on Colby, first Colby, he wants Usman in D.C. Usman dodged him. It's well documented. He dodged him, harshly dodged him. He dodged everybody. Usman's dodging. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight anybody right now.
It seems that way. Yeah.
He only wants to fight like 155ers, 145ers. He'll take on them. But anybody in his division, he does not want to have anything to do with. So Colby is now saying, I want him in DC. I want the Trumps to be able to take a bus to the arena. It's a 5-minute drive. So, you know what I mean? It's obviously going to be huge publicity for him with that going down. Would the president attend a UFC? I think it really could be a yes. And I think that'd be kind of interesting to have, you know what I mean, the president of the United States attend the UFC. It'd be pretty crazy. You know, it'd be huge news worldwide for the UFC. Like, they need more, you know what I mean, advertising. This would be a massive advertising move for them. But Colby also calling, he, you know what I mean, with the whole new belt thing going down, he is calling this belt the JMF, the Journeyman Mothers Fuckers belt. So he's discrediting this belt as well, saying, you know, you guys are going to come up with a belt without me involved in it. You guys are all bums, you know. So now he's calling Jorge a bum as well, and Diaz. So those are two dudes you don't want to have on your bad side, Colby. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You didn't learn with the boomerang, and you didn't learn when Usman jumped line at the fucking buffet in Las Vegas. And here, you know what I mean? Now you're trying to discredit Nate Diaz. You may be in trouble with that one, buddy. I don't know if you want the Diaz brothers rolling up on you. You thought Usman rolling up on you in the buffet line was bad. Wait till the Diaz brothers catch up with you in a Vegas casino or something like that. So it's not a smart move. Not a smart move. But what I thought was crazy is out of all this craziness, all this news coming down with all this shit between these three dudes going down, was also Masvidal was also offered Kamaru Usman. And it's in Masvidal's words, you know what I mean? He said, we went back and forth on money. They gave me what I asked for. I asked for a lot of money. They gave it to me. And then all of a sudden, Usman backed out. So, you know what I mean? Here we see Usman dodging Covington, dodging Masvidal, and dodging who else we don't know about, really. And, but that, you know, that's just crazy. You know, with all these talks going down, they really actually wanted to give Masvidal the title shot. They wanted him to leapfrog Colby Covington again and give him the title shot. But I think it could lead up to a grudge match between him and Colby Covington. Two dudes who used to be the best of friends and training partners having hate. I think that's something, you know, we haven't seen in a long time since like the likes of, you know, John Jones and Rashad Evans. Really, have we seen two training partners? You know what I mean? I guess Cody Garbrandt versus Dillashaw too. Yeah. That'd be that, you know, but that was great. That was great for TV, wasn't it? You know what I mean? That was great for TV, the hate that those two dudes had.
It's funny, he's like a lot like the president of the US, where he's just like, you know, he's like making fun of people, like making names for things. It's like, it's a journeyman belt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
How does it even affect you? You're just jealous because you're not getting paid like they are.
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
Exactly that. You know what I mean?
Why even your fight?
That's what I was trying to say. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head there, Kelly. Because of that, you know what I mean? Is just let them have their victory. You know, let them have their line. Let them have their spotlight. You have your own spotlight. You don't need to encroach on their spotlight. Let them do their thing. But that all being said, this baddest motherfucker belt, Kelly, it is real. It is a real thing. Nate Diaz or Jorge Masvidal will actually win this belt.
That's awesome.
And I love this. I absolutely love this. Especially if they have The Rock tie the belt around the guy's waist, that's the coolest shit. That is the absolute coolest shit. You know what I mean? I know this is one hell. It's something I thought of too with this whole announcement thing, and I think it's going to be the farthest long shot of long shots ever. But do we see The Rock in a UFC octagon fight?
No.
No, exactly. No, exactly. Of course, that's what I'm saying. It's the absolute longest shot. Like, it's got to be like basically 99.999999% chance that he'll ever fight in the UFC. But you know what I mean? But does he? Is something itching him? Something itching him?
It would have to be that, because it can't be for the money.
Obviously not. No. Obviously
So
not.
it'd
Yeah.
just be to see how tough he is. But then he would be fighting a heavyweight.
Brock Lesnar.
Oh man,
That's what I'm saying.
not good for The Rock. The collegiate wrestler.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're both wrestlers, but one's like an actual.
One was actually The Rock was always, he's always been tough and strong, but he was obviously always just a wrestler. He was born, both of his parents, wrestler, pro wrestling lineage.
Yeah.
And he was never that. Brock Lesnar, used his celebrity status as a collegiate wrestler to transition into pro wrestling, obviously, because he was, an all-American heavyweight, which is a big deal, and that's not easy to do. No. You know what I mean? So, so obviously exactly that, Kelly. You got one dude who is a huge grappler already against a dude who's tough, incredibly tough, but has he had any actual amateur wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, something like that? Probably not.
I could see if he just worked on counter wrestling and striking, I could see him knocking out Brock.
But just think, that's the kind of thing that came to me. I could totally see him knocking out Brock Lesnar. Yeah. But just like, how mega of a fight would that be? The Rock taking on Brock Lesnar in an MMA fight. How huge would that be? That would be like the biggest fight of all time. It really would be. Yeah. You know what I mean? It would absolutely be the biggest fight of all time. But hey, I highly doubt you'll see it. But it's kind of, just kind of playing in a fantasy world. How cool it would be to see The Rock in a UFC ring? The dude's massive.
The biggest fight of all time would be two like WWE superstars.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Big time. Well, I don't even know if it's surpassed yet, but I'd like to look up the stats, because I know for the longest time the most watched MMA fight was Bob Sapp versus Aki Bono. You know what I mean? And it was terrible. I think they've actually fought each other 3 times, but the first fight was like the most watched MMA fight in the history of the world, because it was so big. You see this, it's a former, Aki Bono was in WWE for a short period of time, but he was obviously he's a super famous sumo wrestler. You know what I mean? And Bob Sapp was larger than life too. Bob Sapp was, knocking out Ernesto Hoost, catapulted him into superstardom. But obviously, with him he untimely got his orbital, basically got his face broken by Crow Cop, and he was never the same after that. He was, getting touched and falling to the ground. It's got to be tough for a dude that heavy to let other heavyweights hit you in the face with a partially broken face. I don't think that ever heals properly. But that was the other biggest, as far as we'll have to look up the stats. But I'm pretty sure that is still holding the rank as the most watched MMA fight of all time. So it's kind of, it is weird, but that's what people want. People want weird. They want the spectacle. That's what kind of MMA is, still in that carny type feel, like pro wrestling was back in the early days in the 1800s. It was like a carny thing. It was a carnival thing where people would show up and, gladiator style. You don't want to see one person get killed, and you don't want to see the other person win. And that just, you want your favorite to win. It's just one of those weird things. Oh boy, I ran a little long here. Let's move on. Let's move on. Oh man, that Southside show. Fuck, if you have not checked out Southside, people, check it out. Kelly, man, it's such a funny show. So fucking funny. I absolutely adore it. It's on Comedy Central if you're in the States. We get it up here in Canada. It's on Much More Music. And I'm sure you can stream it on different streaming services or whatever. But man, is it so funny. The most recent episode it actually tugged at my heartstrings. It was actually a super funny episode, and it was also kind of had a message in the end. It was about just the way they do it too. It's in the south side of Chicago. It's not the best of neighborhoods, and there's new report of this girl. She's gone missing. And so there's the two cops that work with the Rent-It Center. They're kind of, going around investigating it. And the one cop, he's just like, we gotta start kicking doors in. That's all he wants to do. Just go around kicking doors in. But the girl cop that's with him, she's like, no, let's do some old school police detective work, and maybe we'll find this. So there's a lot of different things going on in the episode. with just the main characters, all the funny shit they always do. There was they always like all these side characters where they're recording an album too. So it's really really funny. But at the end, it was I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. Really good episode, but in the end, man, was it ever such a good story in the end? Really really good episode. It really makes me want to watch more. The episode before, I thought like, there were some funny parts, but is it kind of tailing out a little bit? But no, then this episode really kicked it up a notch. So the one I was talking about the one cop, he's just hilarious. He had like he like arrested. He thought like there was like this. It was like a scientist or like a school professor, like a university professor, and he thought he was a black guy breaking into a house. And I gotta say, he's black as well. The cop is black too. So he thought this guy was breaking into a house that wasn't his, but no, he was a white guy that just looked black. He like had like a darker So he's like, "There's no way you live here." So that's why he got demoted. He was working on the north side, but he got demoted because he beat up this innocent white guy, this rich professor, just trying to get into his house. So he got demoted to the south side. So he doesn't know. So every episode, he kind of gets caught in these viral things where like people are like, he's doing something wrong, and then it all snowballs out of control. And then like next thing you know, he knocked over a little kid or something like that, and it's like police brutality, right? So every episode's funny how he's getting caught in these shitty situations. So he's just going around like to what he thinks are abandoned houses, and it's the south side of Chicago, which I know nothing about, but I can only assume it's a little bit run down. So he's kicking in these doors of these what he thinks are abandoned houses, but there's always people in these houses. They're living their normal lives, and it's the same thing where like people are like, "I'm calling the police." He's like, "I am the police." So they always like start videotaping him, and it's always his kryptonite to run away. And at the end of the episode, he's like, "My door kicking foot." He's just been kicking doors all day. So.
I could be completely wrong, but from what I remember, I believe there was like Ford companies there, like
yep.
They actually like built and fabricated everything there.
Yep.
And then when they pulled out, like so many people lost their jobs.
Of course, yeah.
Kind of like went into like a bad recession and never came back.
Yep.
So a lot of people like lost their homes and everything.
Oh, big time, yeah, big time. The whole, Illinois, Michigan, both those states had real hardships, when the auto industry went up. Because of exactly that, Kelly, because Chicago was like, they built all the cars in Michigan, but they had most of the parts manufactured in Illinois, different places in Illinois. So that once that industry went down, the other industry went down, and it just really fucked over two hard places, It's really, really shitty. But funny show, check it out. Southside's on Wednesdays, I think 7. Check it out, folks. It's fucking worth the watch. It is so funny. I find myself chuckling through every episode. Went to an arcade. Let's talk some video games. Went to an arcade this weekend. Still love going to the arcades, man. I hope they never die. Man, but I hadn't been on the weekend in a long time, Kelly. This one's cool. I've talked about this one on the show before. It's split right down the middle. Half the token games, where you get tickets to cash in your tickets for prizes. Kids love that shit. And there's actually just some fun games you can get tokens from and shit like that. The one fun one we always start off on this one, Kelly. It's our tradition. We start off. It's like a tabletop game where 4 people can play, and it's like you have a controller and just one button and a controller, but you gotta harpoon these fish. That's the whole thing. So each person's at a corner of the flat screen, right? It's a tabletop, and then so you move your arrow around as your harpoon, and then you got to shoot. There's different fish flying around. There's different things have different, and it's all about the kilogram. So I think it's every kilogram you get a ticket, right? But in the middle there's this treasure chest, and if you sit there and if you play long enough, you don't have to play too long. Like play 2 or 3 games. The treasure chest opens and there's this magic jellyfish, and if you get the jellyfish, you get 250 tickets. Damn. So we've done it 2 times now. And this time we did it again. When my son got it, once that jellyfish happens, we're all just hammering our tokens in, playing as much as we can between me and my son and my daughter, and we're just hammering them out. And my son got it this time. It was huge because I was so close so many times, but he also got the orca. There's an orca but he's surrounded by other little fish. And if you get that's a ton of tickets too. So on this one pull, he got 310 tickets plus getting that, and then other shit too. So it was really, really cool moment for the whole family on that one. And we had a blast doing that. But the other cool game it was a brand new game there. They actually have a Halo game in there now, Kelly. and it's like a sit-in one. I don't know what you call it, like 2D or whatever the hell you call it. Actually, they call it actually 3D because you got your seat rumbles and the controller rumbles and the noise. You're in surround sound in there. It's really really cool. But that was really really well done. I thought that was a lot of fun. It's like all the other games. They cost $1 and they're meant to really drain your bank account, but it was actually pretty fun. The funnest one I had though, with those little Rugrats, was playing Luigi's Haunted Mansion. I thought it was really fun because the coolest part, I thought, the finer details, was in the little vacuum. When you suck it up a coin in the vacuum, your gun actually makes a tick. Like it's not like an actual like a sound effect. It's an actual, like, there's some device in there that's like clinking back and forth when you get a coin sucked into your vacuum. Kind of like if you sucked in something metal into your actual vacuum. So I thought that was really fun. It was actually tough, but it was we actually had a total blast playing Luigi's Mansion 2. The claw games, my daughter loves the claw games, unfortunately, and those are one of the biggest scams. But we had a lot of fun at the arcade, man. Lots of fun. Played a ton of Orna, as usual. Made it to level 170. I'm getting really close. I'm gonna have enough Orns and be at level 175. I need 3.5 million Orns to upgrade to the next tier, which I'm super excited for. I'm almost there. I can feel it. I've really been grinding hard on the game, and I cannot wait for the next tier. The whole thing's gonna change. I'm gonna be able to attack that son of a bitch who's taking all my spots, all the new enemies. I don't think 5 days, maybe, it's 7 days till next week is a bit advantageous for that, but maybe. I don't think I'll make it to 175 by next show, but we will see. Super excited. Zelda, I played the Zelda for Super Nintendo as well a ton this weekend. Had a total blast playing it. It was a lot of fun. Man, does it ever bring back a lot of memories. Like I said, I don't think, Kelly, I ever had played it since I was a little kid, and I'm really getting into it. I'm at the first few missions now where I got to get the great sword. I got to get these 3 pendants. I've got 2 of the pendants. I got a bunch of, I finally got the glove now, so I can pick up the rocks. And I got bombs and the run boost. So it's all these little different things you get that to help you along your way and make the game a little bit easier for you. And it's just man, a lot of fun. A little bit of challenging, a little bit easy at the same time too. The bosses and everything. It's one of those things where I remember as a little kid, like I'd always like draw like comic books and shit like that and cartoons. But I'd used a lot of the Zelda. I'd stole a lot from Zelda, on how they draw their characters, and I just, shit like that. It really brings back a lot of memories. Really, really fun game. The Switch getting it done. I'm gonna go home and play it again today. I can't wait for it. It's such a fun game, and especially to play it on the Switch system is so super super cool. How about you, Kelly? Wow it up?
Yeah, it's World of Warcraft Classic. Hit level, I think, 22.
Nice.
Got my succubus minion thing. I forgot how annoying the sound effects are on that one, but that's okay.
What is it?
It's just she just makes a whipping noise and makes a ooh noise.
Oh yeah. I remember you're talking about. Yeah.
Continuously doing that all day, every day. It's fun.
It was good for the first hour.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you could turn a sound effect off on that, but I just
maybe bother. Yeah, maybe you could change it somehow too.
Yeah, no, but it's been fun. There's just so many people playing that it just makes all the leveling and everything pretty easy.
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure just how popular it is right now, right?
Yeah, I hit this one castle, and it had all these elite orcs on it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can't do this. But continue going forward just in case I see someone to join a party with, and I get to the top and there's 30 people there. So then they sent me an invite right away, and we just wiped the whole place.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
At least it's, that's kind of always the cool thing about WoW is the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have made hardcore friends through WoW. Just playing. Because someone you stick with and play with, and they're actually a good person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I just threw my my minion on Berserk or whatever it's called. So it just attacks whoever it wants. And I was probably one of the lower levels.
Right.
I was just trying to dot everything I could.
Still.
But I just kept using all my magic, so I just kept using life tap, and I'm sure the priest hated me.
That's hilarious.
Just converting all my life to mana, and then he's trying to film me again.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's his job, bitch. Get used to it. That's cool. No, that's cool. I still got to get the subscription, and I'll join you guys. I just, like I said, man, when I downloaded it, I'm like, fuck, why did I do this? This is a fun game. I got too much to play right now. You know what I mean? I got far too much to play right now, but super fun game, and I'm going to get into it eventually here. I'm going to definitely get into it eventually.
Apex Legend had some some sort of event with a Bangalore. I don't know if it was
weird.
A skin. Yeah, so that happened as well.
It was like a tournament?
No, it's kind of like a week long event where you can unlock things.
Oh, okay, weird. So
just by doing dailies and stuff.
Oh, okay, I got you. And just how many dailies you had, how many points you had towards the towards the special event. I guess
it gave you special skins and stuff. I didn't play at all, but yeah, that's.
There you go.
That's Apex.
You're up to date on your Apex. Tune in next week, folks. All right. Let's get to this. Back by popular demand. Reviewing the reviews. We're going international, Kelly. We're going international. Sticking with a tried and true classic, McDonald's. But where, you ask? Jolly old England. Going with the McDonald's in Leicester Square, London, England. It's just as terrible out there as you would imagine it is here. 3.8 stars out of 1,821 reviews. I love this. I absolutely love this. It was funny. I was in the lineup at the mall, and there was seriously somebody taking a picture of A&W and reviewing it at the mall. I know. Took a picture of it and then reviewed it. What's up with people?
You should have taken a picture of him instead of reviewing him.
There you go, reviewing the reviewers. For real. For real.
Didn't like his jeans too much.
I think that may be against the law.
Shoes are dirty.
Shoes are dirty. Smelt of poo and BO. All right, here.
Or you could just review the restaurant, but actually review the customers like some idiots do.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I'm doing.
It's hey, look at these guys. They suck. 2 stars.
So they'll do mostly British voices, but I'll sneak in, on the old James Bond movies, they used to have that redneck guy to always show up and help them out. So I'll sneak in a few redneck voices here, but we'll do it. We'll do it here a little bit British style. I like this. A lot of hate, but oddly enough, a lot of 5-star reviews too. All right, this person here, 4 reviews. RN 3 months ago. Disappointing. Used to enjoy the food here a lot, but I can't enjoy it the same way anymore after knowing that they still refuse to take better care of their chickens. Here we go.
What the fuck?
I'm not eating here anymore until I can be convinced that they've signed up to the better chicken commitment and really do intend to see it through. And I got 4 likes. I got 4 thumbs up, too.
This is a review for the restaurant, not all of McDonald's.
Exactly.
Ever,
Review the headquarters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what you do. Review the headquarters and go fuck off.
The poor manager got a 1 star because the chickens get kicked at some farm somewhere that he has nothing to do with.
Yeah, exactly. I got nothing to do with it. They come to me all battered and I throw them into a deep fryer. That's what I do to these chickens.
They're going to be battered. I just batter them up.
Exactly. Tenderized. Oh boy. That's rough. Okay. Oh shit. 1 star, but I love it. We got the crazy already. First right off the bat, crazy person. Based on their treatment of chickens. This store, you know what I mean? It's just some manager who's probably making barely above minimum wage.
Yeah.
Just trying to hustle and bustle, get these people in and out to go home to his family with leftover burgers and fries. And here you want to slag on his day because of how chickens are treated somewhere else. You know what I mean? Jeez Louise. I love this one because like he's got like in point form. This guy's down in business here. This guy doesn't mess around. Yeah, I know. EM local guide, 33 reviews, 224 photos, 1 star 3 months ago. Queue was long and busy. Wi-Fi did not work. 3 toilets were very busy.
Those busy toilets. And the Wi-Fi at the McDonald's.
All he wanted to do was take a shit and play Candy Crush at the same time, and the guy couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't play his Candy Crush and sit in the toilet uninterrupted by the other people with McDonald's diarrhea.
Oh, shit.
4. Order was incorrect. 5. Large fries contained no more fries than a medium fries. 6. Food tastes pretty good until the straw disintegrated. like what? So the food was actually good though.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. The food was actually good, but since since the straw is a
But he wasn't talking about the drink. He was talking about his food.
Yeah.
So did he put a straw in the food?
I know exactly. That's why I was kind of weirded out by too. I know, what is he talking about here? Like, did that ruin the whole thing? That is, So here's what you do: you take off the lid and then you drink it like like a cup.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
But I just love that he has them all numbered 1 to 6. All of his gripes.
I love how he counted all the fries in his medium
Yeah.
and his large fries.
So he went back to order a medium fries. He's like, these fucking guys, it's the same amount of fries.
Just counted them all.
He stood back in line. I love how British people they call it a queue. They don't call it a line.
Yeah.
There's a queue. I like that.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's the same thing, right? I mean, I like that though. But you know what I mean. So here, let's break this guy down here because he's bitching because the place was busy. That's their fault. Wi-Fi didn't work. Once again, your fault. But it's a restaurant, man. It's still you're not there for the Wi-Fi. You're there for the food. The toilets were busy. The bathroom was busy. Once again, that's not their fault. That's not their fault that everyone had to take a shit. And his order was incorrect. That's McDonald's. You always get an incorrect order at McDonald's. So, like, why are you surprised by that? The whole fry thing, I think, is odd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at least give him a 2-star. Come on, man. 1 star for all that.
Good.
And the food was actually good, according to him. Just his biodegradable straw disintegrated.
Yeah, in his food.
In his foods, he was sucking up his food in his drink somehow. I don't know what happened.
That's why it was wrong. Excuse me, I wanted this blended.
I know, exactly.
You have to go blend.
I want a milkshake. I want my burger to be a milkshake. I want a Big Mac milkshake.
Oh, gross.
I know. I like this one here. This is a good one too. LA 15 reviews, 1 star 3 months ago. They didn't have a good run 3 months ago. Everyone's complaining about the same thing. Just quickly to glance over top, everyone's saying the same thing. It's far too busy. That's not their fucking fault. McDonald's is popular. What do you want them to do?
Yeah, it's like they're not even saying they didn't have enough staff. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure every till was staffed.
Yeah, just the place was busy.
This is popular. Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly. 3 months ago, here we go. Packed to the gills, so much so that I saw a woman pushed to tears. At McDonald's.
Over a McDonald's burger?
Nothing compared to the miscue cages. And oh boy, here we go. Nothing compared to the minuscule cages that the diseased chickens of McDonald's suffer through every day. 30 million in the UK alone every year. They're selectively bred to grow fat, and their bodies too fat for the bodies to handle, and suffer heart failure as a result. Every mouthful is far from delicious enough to mask what is going on behind the scenes. Bravo. Bravo, buddy. You're changing lives. You're changing the world. One review of McDonald's at a time. One review at a time. He's changing the world. He's really changing the world. My hat goes off to you, LA, because You really did it, man. You really did it. They're gonna stop doing it now because of your review, because you're grandstanding on this fucking review. You are a moron, sir. Man, you got to get out there. You want to actually change. The last place you want to do is go to review it.
Yeah.
Review the McDonald's. That'd be the last thing I would do. I would actually do something that would actually make a difference. You know what I mean? Talk to your local politicians. Try to change the law so that this is animal cruelty. That's what you have to do. Not reviewing on a McDonald's website of some random fucking McDonald's in the middle of the UK. Love it. Sorry, I cut you off though, Kelly. Were you going to say something?
Oh, man. You pretty much said it.
I know.
It's fucking so stupid.
I love it. I didn't expect that. I didn't know this whole thing was going on. That's what's kind of fun about this. We're learning about the UK. We're learning about London and the UK.
It's kind of like if those little rubber cones that the construction workers laid down were like toxic, so they're like yelling at the construction workers because it's their fault somehow.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is all we got to use. What do you want me to use? Biodegradable ones that melt and then everyone dies because someone got ran over?
It's like the government makes us use these. Head office makes us buy these chickens.
What I love about this one, though, is I didn't know that this one was going to make that turn. I hadn't scanned ahead on this one because, he says, super packed. I saw a woman crying in there. It was so packed. And then he goes about, but not as nothing compared to how packed it was in the chickens' cages. Love it, how psycho this guy is.
Yeah, you think she was crying. You should have seen the chickens.
I know. Love it. Okay, here we go. We'll round it up. Yeah, we've ran a little long today. Folks. That's just the organic evolution of this show. And this segment I absolutely love. Because you really see the underbelly of really the psychotic people. You should ban people with mental illness from guns and reviews. You can't, if you have a mental illness, you cannot do a review. But then our show would be done. We wouldn't be able to do the segment anymore. Yeah. Got to think about that one again. All right, last one here. S.O. 9 reviews, 2 photos, 1 star, 3 months ago. This will be the American. We're super excited to try a vegetarian burger. I've been vegetarian for over 25 years. Took a big bite only to find that it was actually chicken patty. What the fuck? I think they messed your order up, buddy. I don't know if that was... I think in classic McDonald fashion, they messed your order up. It wasn't actually a vegetarian patty. That is hilarious. The chicken patty. That is too funny.
Usually the box will tell you, like the packaging or like the wrapper.
I think if you're ordering something specially too, I'll do it too. Like, I'll double check my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll double check my stuff. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna order something specially, you know what I mean? I'll make a double check. This guy should have double checked before he bit into that son of a bitch. How was a chicken for the first time in 25 years, though? You know what I mean?
It was sad. They were kept in little cages.
The remorse I felt from biting into this small caged chicken
made me cry, and some guy wrote a review and told them.
And we all stood outside and said no more. No more. Love it. Oh, I love this guy. Put like a big okay emoji on there. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Interesting. It really did the trick. UK. I was wondering, because if we did like more international, like, European countries, obviously I think they would be in, their native language, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do more research on that one and see if, if we do like Germany or France or, Spain, anywhere around there, if, if obviously they probably would be, but maybe we could find English reviews, or maybe they'd be translated for us. Just with the joy of Google. We'll find out. I'll check into it. I'll check into it down the road. I can't wait to keep doing it. That was a hit. That was an absolute hit. McDonald's in Leicester, UK, London town. All right, we've ran quite long here, Kelly. Let's take a little break, and we will be right back to you after these brief messages.
Every year, millions of people suffer from gaming addiction. Here at Blizzard, we'd like to invite you to spend that gaming addiction with us in World of Warcraft Classic. Back again, just like 2004. You thought you quit? Well, we just pulled you back in. Have fun from everyone here at Blizzard. Thank you for sharing your gaming addiction with us.
With the rainy season upon us, take in the H2O from the heavens in multiple different ways. Shower! Good gravy, I got a hot date and I ain't got time for a shower. Oh, thank God it's raining outside. Problem solved. Brushing your teeth. Oh boy, I drank too much last night and I'm already late for work. How am I going to brush my teeth in time? Oh, Lordy, it's raining. Woo! I'm saved. And my favorite one, straight up drinking. Nothing can quench your thirst better than a good old mouthful of rainwater. Thank you, clouds. Welcome back, folks. Hope you enjoyed our messages and go grab yourself a cold, tall glass of water on the house. Tap water, that is. Let's break it down here. KSW 50, London. Great show. I actually really enjoyed the card. It was long though, Kelly. 6 hours. 3 title fights. It was really good with the exception of the main event. I really loved it. It wasn't too many. What was nice about it, obviously, being in London. They had a lot of London, British fighters versus Polish fighters, which was kind of cool. There was one really. Oh yeah, Damian Janikowski, Tony Giles. It was kind of weird. These two dudes had a bit of beef before, and this Tony Giles guy was kind of like a throwback, like the way he was standing in the ring and kind of taunting Janikowski. It was really weird, and he was getting the shit pounded out on the ground. And it looked like he tapped, but he's saying, no, I didn't tap. But his face is all bloodied and beaten up and shit, so it was a bit controversial. And so that was kind of, it was actually a good fight up until that. I was sad to see it end. They actually had a retirement bout. Jason Radcliffe defeating Antoni Chmielewski. It was actually a pretty good fight too. Actually, to tell you the truth, Antoni retiring from MMA. He had a lot of bouts. It was his 50th fight too, Kelly. So he looked like a fighter, that's for sure. His face and his ears and his nose, everything were just super distorted and beat up. But he was put on a good fight for a dude who'd been fighting that many times. Almost won it. On my scorecard, I had him a little bit closer than Radcliffe, but Radcliffe, the local, gets the win. UFC cast-off Norman Park defeats last-second replacement Marcin Warzik via split decision for the interim lightweight title belt. It wasn't the greatest of cards. It was a bit boring. I had Marcin winning that one on my scorecards, but Norman Park takes the nod of the judges. Got a little bit slower with Roberto Soldic taking on Michael Petrak. It wasn't a bad fight. It was a little bit slower though, but the fight I was actually the fight I was most looking forward to on this card was Thomas Narkum taking on Pravoslav Myasla. And it was a really crazy. This Pravoslav guy, he was actually on the heavyweight show, the last UFC Ultimate Fighter, Kelly, the Polish guy on that one. But he was fighting at 205 now, so he's moved down to 205, and he still looks smaller than Narkun. He was a small heavyweight, moves to 205, still looks super small, and Narkun was just way too much for him, man. I don't know. I'm surprised UFC hasn't called up Thomas Narkun yet, because he is really good. He's kind of like a Justin Gaethje style, where he's really good on his feet. He kind of brings that punch, kick style to you, constant attack. And he's got a really good ground game too. He's got good takedowns and a really good ground game too. So I'm surprised that the UFC hasn't called him, but maybe KSW has thrown enough money at this dude to say, hey, you don't need to be worried about fighting anywhere but here for the rest of your days. And that's good for KSW because he's a great champ at 205. I don't see anyone taking his belt from him anytime soon, which, it's kind of a sad thing though. You want to see these international guys go to the UFC and compete for their country, compete for for their organization, really, competing for all the KSW guys would be rooting for him to be successful in UFC. And I think he can be very successful. Maybe not at 205. He is a tall dude though, but if he could get down to 185 without it damaging his body too much, I think 185 would be a perfect fit for Thomas Narkun. And I always want to see him fight again. guillotines the fuck out of him in the first round. Miazla wasn't that great of a fighter. Wasn't a good fighter on the show. I was surprised he got a title shot. You know what I mean? But he's the perfect mix for this event because he is Polish born, but he actually lives in the UK. He lives in London, so it was a good fit for that. But what a win for Thomas Narkun. The main event, though, what a stinker this one was, man. It's probably the worst heavyweight fight I'd ever seen in my life, Kelly. And I saw Kimbo fight Dada 3000. Wow. You know what I mean? This fight was terrible. This fight was really terrible.
They fought to the death on that fight, man. You thought that was a bad fight? Rest in peace, Kimbo.
This was a terrible fight, man. This was a terrible fight. It sucked. Phil DeFries. He fought in the UFC a few times too. He was, fought in Bellator. He's obviously the champ over at KSW, defeating Luis Henrique. Split decision too, just because Henrique was really landing more. Where DeFries was seriously, Kelly. His whole strategy was to hold him up against the fence or take him down and hold him against the ground. That was his whole strategy. He really didn't throw much of anything, really. I understand if you want to tire the dude out, but don't make it so you're fighting the style that's going to tire you out too. Where Henrique was really landing a lot of leg kicks. He really had a, when he wasn't being just straight up held up against the cage, and doing nothing with it. It was boring as shit. Hot tamales. Was it ever a letdown? I was really excited for this card to see the heavyweights go at it, but Phil DeFries, lays a stinker on that one. I was disgusted by that match. I ended up fast forwarding through the fourth round because I'm like, fuck, I just wasted 20 minutes of my goddamn life watching this shit fight. So I fast forwarded through the fifth and nothing really happened in the fifth round because they were both exhausted. so he retains the heavyweight. His leg was mangled. He could barely walk on the way out, so he really got the leg kicks. Let's break it down here. UFC Fight Night 158 Vancouver. It was a really good card. I really enjoyed it. It was actually quite stacked for a Vancouver card too, which I really enjoyed too. I thoroughly enjoyed the undercard, which I thought was actually stole the show really, and I really wish I could have went to it and check it out. I always love the undercard. I love the atmosphere and the feel of it. I went the last time UFC came. Lucky enough, I got free tickets and I had really good seats. And this card didn't disappoint. I really enjoyed it very thoroughly. Did you watch it too, Kelly?
I did.
Yeah, nice. Louis Smolka really smoking Ryan McDonald, TKOing him in the first round. That was a really crazy knockout. Smolka really putting it to him, really just landing time and time again until it was it. But how crazy enough, how low this fight was on the card. I'm just calling this almost fight of the year, man. Chase Skelly versus Jordan Griffin. I thought this was fight of the year, man. What a crazy, crazy fight. These guys went back and forth, just nuts. How, it was such a contrast of styles with Chase Skelly being such a great grappler and being so crafty on the ground. And the opposite side, the flip side of the coin, Jordan Griffin having a crazy stand-up game and really landing heavy shots, forcing Chase Skelly to go into that panic mode and take it to the ground. But Jordan Griffin with enough grappling experience to be able to fend off the submissions that were super strong with Chase Skelly. The craziest move, I think, is when actually it was one of the coolest parts. I think it was in the second round when Chase Skelly got Jordan Griffin's back, and then he got out of it and stood up, and then Jordan Griffin got on Chase Skelly's back and even almost choked him out, got a really bad, nasty choke, but Chase Skelly, to defend the choke, does a straight-up front flip, having him land on his head and breaking it up, and then he gets his back again. And then what does Jordan Griffin do? Steals a move from him, tries to go for the same front flip, but it didn't work. And Chase Skelly managed to weather the front flip and held on. And it just was like, what a back and forth war that these guys put on. I was really impressed. I'm voting this one fight of the year. This is my vote for fight of the year because the third round really lacked a little bit. If the third round was more strong, I think it would have a better case for fight of the year. But the first two rounds were dynamite. I absolutely loved it. An absolute grappler's dream was this match. matchup. And Jordan Griffin really impressed me. I didn't even know who the hell this dude was. I'd seen Chase Skelly fight a bunch of times before, and he takes the loss. And I was never been that impressed with somebody in a loss. And he was the underdog too. Somehow this Jordan Griffin was the favorite to win. Let's break it down here. 6 degrees of separation. Jordan, the native psycho Griffin. What a nickname, eh?
Native psycho.
Fighting out of Rufus Sport in Milwaukee, 17-7. He lost to Dan Ige by decision before Chase Skelly. Beat Maurice Mitchell on the Contender Series. Hasn't had a good growth since winning on the Contender Series. He's fought obviously the local King of the Cage. He fought a lot. Actually lost to Juan Archuleta. Funny enough, you know what I mean? As a dude who's a tough ass dude to go up against. Who's in the Bellator 145-pound tournament right now. And really no other Adam Ward he beat. Other than that, no really other names to announce really. That he's got a decent career though. He's fought a lot of dudes. Had a really rough start off his career 3-1. It's a rough way to start, but kind of found his way and went on a tear from there. To round out at 17-7, I want to see Jordan Griffin back in the octagon again. He was really, really good on his feet and had enough on the ground, enough smarts on the ground to be able to defend himself. I really liked it. Moving on, Hunter Azar beating Brad Katona. Another really tough one there. Brad Katona from Manitoba fighting out of the SGK gym out in Ireland. That was a really good fight too. Hunter Azar, man, that guy is tough. He was just throwing heavy heat. He's actually a all-state wrestler in Montana. And Brad Katona was no slouch. Brad Katona took him down a bunch of times. It was a tough one. I didn't see a unanimous decision, but they gave Brad Katona 1 round, which I think is nice enough. I thought we could have saw him get 2 rounds. I thought we would have seen a split decision, but all the judges saw it 29-28 for Hunter Azar, and he's a tough dude. Hunter Azar, man, that guy was throwing some huge bombs. He was really, and then just how his grappling was so strong was a really good showing. Cole Smith losing split decision, another local guy from Vancouver, to Miles Johns. That was a really boring fight. Augusto Sakai, a Bellator signing, knocks Marcin Tybura into next week under a minute. That was a crazy knockout. Augusto Sakai, really tough, good showing. A Brazilian-Japanese guy, and I can't wait to see more of him again. I really always enjoyed his fights in Bellator, and he gets a big win. I think Tybura is probably going to be on his way out. He's going to be probably called up by KSW shortly, being Polish-born fighter. We will definitely be seeing him in the KSW cage soon enough. I think he's lost far too many. His chin's totally gone now. He's been knocked out a lot recently. Let's just take a little quick look here at Marcin Tybura. I think this is his 3rd KO in a row, and that's just not a good stat for health-wise. Let's see here. No, it's only his 2nd KO in a row, but he did lose. He got KO'd by Derek Lewis, beat Stefan Struve, got TKO'd by Shamil Agumarov, and then Augustus Sakai gets absolutely totally KO'd by him. He actually went decision with Verdum, oddly enough. That's crazy. He lost, but still went to decision. He has a win over Arlovsky. Crazy.
Yeah, Matt Serra has a win over GSP.
It's true. Yep, that's true.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. That's why they fight. Anything can happen. And this was a good fight too. This was a really good come from behind win. Misha Shirkinov beating Jim Crute. That was a crazy one. Peruvian necktie. I really love the Peruvian necktie. How nasty it is, and how it was crazy. They were really trading, going back and forth. And Jim Crute almost looked like he was going to win with that ground and pound.
Yeah, I thought he was going to.
Yeah, so did I. And then somehow Shirkinov gets back up and gets the guillotine, turns the guillotine into a Peruvian necktie, and Jim Crute has no choice but to tap. Well, it was close one too. Not enough time left to save him, and he had no choice but to tap. I've never been, I've always thought it was much smarter to tap than to get choked out cold, especially in that position. It'd be hard to for the ref to tell if you were truly out. But Jim Crute, he'll be back again. Jim Crute's a really, really tough dude, and he almost won, so he'll be back again. Night of the Underdog, Uriah Hall. beating Antonio Carlos Jr. by split decision. I just didn't think, it was a tough one to call where, Uriah Hall had a good first round, maybe the second round, or maybe the third round, I think you could give back to Uriah Hall. Antonio Carlos Jr., really trying for the submissions, but I think the blood from his nose being broken right off the bat, and it was just since he was just riding his back the whole time, I think that blood from him got all up on Uriah Hall's neck and made it so he was so slippery there was no way he could have put the choke on because his nose was just gushing the whole fight.
Yeah.
And if you're on the guy's back the whole time, you're just gonna be coating his back with all your blood. Yeah. And it was just too slippery for him to blood mixes with sweat. It was far too slippery for him to even think about doing a submission. So I thought that was kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Uriah Hall getting the split. It was a tough call though. I didn't want to be a judge for that one though. It wasn't the best of fights. But it was a good win for Uriah Hall being the underdog. Speaking of underdog, Tristan Connolly beating Michel Pereira. Like, wow, Kelly, to come out of nowhere, 5 days notice, local guy at 170, his first UFC fight. Always been wanting to get in the UFC and doesn't get it. Here we see the showboating Brazilians again ruining their own shit. Michel Pereira, coming in, he starts off with the springboard backflip before he even fights. It takes a lot of energy to do that, and then the whole match, the whole first round, he's running around the ring, trying to go for the Superman punch, trying to, doing backflips, doing a lot of crazy shit. And Tristan Connolly wasn't afraid. He wasn't phased. And the end of the first round, he's like, okay, let's do this, man. What else you got? What other flips you got? And he was like, I'm tired. He's like, okay, now I'm going to fight you. You know what I mean? I thought that what a crazy, crazy turn of events. Pereira totally, underestimating his opponent with 5 days notice. I thought, what a size mismatch, first of all.
He's a lighter weight class, he said after the fight in the interview. Like, he wants to go back to his own weight class. He doesn't want to fight these huge guys.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Pereira was huge. You know what I mean? And you tell because he actually weighed in, I think, at like 169. You know what I mean? And Pereira weighed in 172. Yeah. So not only did he won fight of the night bonus, Kelly, and he also gets Pereira's purse because he missed weight. Yeah. So he gets 20% of his purse.
I heard he got $100,000.
Wow, what a day. Yeah. For 5 days notice to come in and to win, being a relative nobody. Especially, fighting out of the Rise FC, Elite One, a lot of these real lower, shitty Canadian organizations. Fighting out of Victoria, he's from the island. They make a lot of tough guys from the island. Tristan Boondock Connolly, 14-6 too. You see, he normally does fight at 155. Yeah. He doesn't look that tough too, right? So he's just tough as hell. He's on one hell of a streak right now. With obviously his biggest win to date against Michel Pereira. Beat Dwan Owens. Really no one else. Shane Campbell. That's he lost to him back in 2017. That's about it, really.
Since 2016, he's won lost like one fight.
Yeah, exactly. He's fought a lot in the last few years.
His beginning record's a little bit spotty.
Yeah. I actually fought in deep in a lot of the Alaskan organization. That's probably why, too. He's starting off in that Alaskan organization was really, really good. It still really is decent, the AFC. So, fought in deep, fought in AFC for a long time. And then when he left, I think he kind of found his way a little bit. And, what a win.
Same thing we see with Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, very similar. Yep. It was very similar with Masvidal. He had a, kind of was trying to find his way, and then eventually it clicked with him, you know what I mean? But huge win. And then it brings us to the controversial no contest. Todd Duffy and Jeff Hughes going to no contest. It was a good fight up until that eye poke. What do you make of it, Kelly? Even Daniel Cormier's like, hey, I'm not in there. It didn't look like an eye poke to me, but I'm not in there. You know what I mean? I'm not in there, and you know what I mean? But it was all after, you know what I mean? It was almost like, did his eye poke him? Maybe a little bit. Yeah. It didn't look like an actual, when you see a guy get poked in the eye, it's from a punch, and he just straight jabs his finger into his eye. Mm. Did he get raked a little bit in the eye? I don't know. You can't really see because it was behind his hand. Yeah. But to me, it didn't really look like an eye poke. Like I said, I wasn't there. I didn't feel my eye get poked. Could he get eye poked? For sure. Did it look like he did? No, it didn't look like he got eye poked, and it was all after the fight started turning.
Yeah.
The tide started turning. Todd Duffy starts holding onto the fence because he's kind of getting gassed. The referee smashes his hand away, and then Jeff Hughes starts landing some bombs, and then gets him on the ground, and then all of a sudden my eyes poked. I'm seeing double vision. You know what I mean? His eye wasn't red. That's what I didn't notice. His eye wasn't red. He wasn't. You see these guys get like Chick Congo. His eye was swelled shut instantly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Todd Duffy's eye looked fine. His eye looked totally fine. You know what I mean? I didn't see any redness. I didn't see any swelling. I didn't see his eye closed shut. Which is what you see a lot of times with these dudes. Like, they can't even open their eye because they got poked so bad. I didn't see any of that. But Todd Duffy is a bit of a basket case. He's a bit of a mental case. So I could see him pulling some of this shit. He's done this before with this whacked out shit. And shitty to see that one end because I really thought it was, from the way it went out of the gates too, it was really, really good. Glover Teixeira actually was a good fight against Nikita Krylov. I actually enjoyed that fight too. It was going to split decision. I had Glover as well. Krylov was doing really good in the first round, but kind of petered off in the second too. It wasn't a bad fight. It just was shitty that the main card had a lot of decisions, but that made up for it with the main event of the evening: Justin Gaethje versus Cowboy Donald Cerrone. What a fight! What a fight, man. Cerrone really, he really got tagged there a few times in the beginning, but, he wasn't like, he's like, fuck this. You want to tag me? He was really getting on him. Every time he got hit, he'd want to punch 2 times back. But Gaethje, my God, what's this guy eating? You know what I mean? Because he's not the brightest guy, which I think makes for a good fighter. But, you know what I mean? If you heard him in his interviews. But, man, God damn it if I don't love him.
Yeah, he's only lost twice.
I know. Exactly.
Crazy.
And, you know what I mean? For such a tough dude, he's probably got the heaviest hands in the lightweight division right now. And he wants the belt too. You know what I mean? He wants the belt too. And who does he get though? Does he get Conor or does he get the belt, Kelly? Who do you think he gets?
I think they're going to set him up with Conor.
Yeah.
First.
I think that makes money. I think that makes some real big money. These guys have, Gaethje is just in his prime. He's only 30. And he's about to turn 31, for a dude who has no intentions of going to the ground. That's what's crazy about him. You know what I mean? His only 2 losses were in the UFC. His war against Eddie Alvarez, which was a really good fight. And then he got TKO'd in that crazy other crazy war by Dustin Poirier. When was the last decision? He had a decision back in 2014. That was his last decision, was in 2014. It was against Melvin Gillard of all the dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How crazy is that? And then everything else is finished. How many? Let's break it down here a little bit. Justin, the highlight, Gaethje. Oh no, what happened?
I think Conor's gonna want to fight him too, just because he's lost to the 2 people that Conor's beat.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. I think that's how you sell it to Conor. You know what I mean? As a winnable fight. He's a little bit sloppy. You know what I mean? With his striking, he's got. I think the thing about Gaethje is he's bringing a full arsenal of kicks, knees, and punches, and just a in-your-face mentality. But it is a bit sloppy, and maybe Conor can exploit that. You know what I mean? Let's just how many decisions does he even have? Like, how many decisions he even gone to? He's gone to 2 decisions.
In
23 fights, he has 2 decisions.
Wow.
That is insane. He's only lost by KO, you know what I mean, by TKO or in KO, you know what I mean? But, like, that is insane. What a stat record that is. And
the biggest mistake he's ever made was just getting those no fear eyes tattooed on his side of his body there. Other than that, he's,
That's how crazy he is. He's fought a lot of dudes, too, beating Drew Fickett, Jay-Z, Cavalcante he beat, Brian Cobb, Dan Lozon, big wins, Nick Newell, you know what I mean? He's only one of Nick Newell's only losses.
Michael Johnson.
Yeah, Michael Johnson. I remember when I think that was his first UFC fight, and that's where I really gained a lot. I was like, I don't know about this guy. WSOF isn't the best place, and the PFL what doesn't have the best talent. I'm like, I'm not sure how this guy's gonna do, but his beatdown on Michael Johnson sold me. And I still liked him after those 2 losses to Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier. What a way to come back, though. You know what I mean? You lose to 2 dudes, 2 back-to-back finishes on you. You still brought it, and then to come back with a KO over James Vick, a KO of Edson Barbosa. And in my book, it was almost a KO of Donald Cerrone. I'm not sure why he was really protesting what he was protesting. He was out. He was totally out. When you're looking at the ground and you're not trying to get up and your hands are on the ground and the dude's just feeding you shots and you're not doing anything else. Yeah, you're not moving. No, exactly. Not trying to defend yourself, not trying to do anything. Yeah. I thought it was a really good stoppage. And, Gaethje's even like, are you going to stop it to the ref? And then the ref's like, ref's still standing there. So he had to punch him a few more times. Then he's like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm not punching him anymore. Come on, man. Get in here.
Yeah, he walked away and he was still like, the same position.
Yeah, exactly.
Until he like looks up at the ref in a daze and he's like, "Oh wait, what?"
I know the guy. I know the ref's like, "Why are you stopping?" He's like, "Why are you stopping it? Because you were knocked out."
So we didn't even realize that Gaethje wasn't even there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Good stoppage. Hugest win of his career, obviously, over Cowboy. The ultimate gatekeeper of 155 or 170. If you beat Cowboy, you're top 10. And I hope we see a lot more Cowboy down the road. Tied for the most UFC fights, the most UFC finishes, the most fight of the night bonuses in the UFC. You know what I mean? And I think he has most KOs, most finishes in the UFC as well. So, Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer is Cowboy Cerrone. He can retire a very happy man. I think we're seeing the tail end of his career. I think we thought we saw that before. A few years ago we thought we saw that where he was on a few after his Darren Till KO. I think a lot of people were like, "That's it for Cowboy," and he's not going to get any more fights. Like I think he lost to Leon Edwards and to Darren Till, but then he got a few wins. Or I think he beat Leon Edwards. Then he got a few wins. Then he got a few more wins. And then he knocked out a big name. You know what I mean? And I think we'll always see Cowboy in that. Maybe it's at this time though. Maybe it's at this time. I hope not. I love seeing Cowboy. Always garners the main event. And the only thing I hate about this card is I wasn't there to see it live. And I really wish I could have went and saw it. I was just kind of busy this week. They had a lot of open workouts. Anybody could walk up to the fighters and talk to them. So I could have done a stupid little interview or some shit like that. I missed opportunity on my end, but it could have been fun. Good card. What was your favorite fight of the card, Kelly?
Damn. It's probably what was his name? The guy from Vancouver who fought.
Pereira. Yeah. I was in disbelief too when I saw that one. I was in like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah. Like Gaethje Cowboy was a great fight, but I love both those guys and don't want to see either one lose, so couldn't pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. I was the same boat. I love both of them, and I didn't want to see someone lose, but I knew I was gonna have a good fight. Oh boy, great card, man. We had a lot of talk about this week. I thought didn't have that much material on here. We ran super long. A good weekend of sports. We have a lot of shit coming down. Clash of Champions tonight, and all the shit coming down next week.
What color should I paint my ruck next year?
Ooh.
Because it's becoming fall. Probably going to start working on it.
Huh.
Modifying it.
I've always been a partial to like a blue, like a midnight blue or a dark blue.
Like midnight blue.
But I think when it comes to your scooter, I think you want to be a bright color is all. That's
nah.
Neon yellow.
Nah. Fuck that shit.
Just add some sparkle to it or something like that.
Just do ground effects.
Oh, there you go. I like that. That's cool. That'd be really cool. Well, then, that about wraps it up. Just want to give a special shout out to everyone tuning in every week. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Subscribe us up if you enjoy it every week. I know there's a few people every time we drop an episode. There's a bunch of people that jump on it. And thank you to everyone out there who actually enjoys this for some weird reason. Thank you. No, we really enjoy it, and it's going to new levels every single episode, I find. I think we get stronger and stronger, and Kelly's always doing a great job, and we just always have an absolute blast doing this, and thank you for welcoming us into your headset, whether you be at work or on the bus or wherever the hell you're doing, murdering people with the headset on. You listen to us. That's cool with me.
Getting it on.
Getting it on. And good old-fashioned getting it on. Well, then, that about wraps up the show for Kelly, producer and co-host extraordinaire. My name is Steven, and you've been listening to the New Podcast.